LFM Season 16 Week 2 is upon us, and this week it was all about leveling up my game. Now, after getting my safety rating over the 5.0 mark last week and graduating out of rookie class for the longer race, I thought it was only fair that I try graduate out of the sprint rookie class races inside the rookie class still. So we go straight to Misano to try and push that marker over 5.5. And it is these two races that ultimately get me over that mark, but as you're about to see, they could not have gone any differently. So let's dive straight in to race number 1. So we're going to jump into the lane now for the start of qualifying for race number 1. And as a part of the leveling up process this week, I'm starting to use some new overlays inside the game. I'm just starting to get my head around them, but I'm hoping that it's going to stop some of the issues I've been having with both fuel and tyres, as well as giving me some better info for racing as well. But we're going to jump into here the best lap I had in qualifying for this session, coming out now of turn 3, making my way down to the turn 4, 5, 6 complex here at Misano. And this was a really tricky part of the track. You've got to get on the throttle really early, you've got to get over the curbs quite a lot to maintain the speed. Trying to not lift through turn number 6 was really tricky for me. But we're starting to get the hang of it here, and as you'll see in the next 2 races, I certainly start to get a better handle on that part of the circuit. Coming down now into turn number 8, hard down to first gear for me, coming up the other side, and then this tricky sort of long double right-hander hairpin, which leads you onto the long back straight here at Misano as well. So the exit's really critical on this one. You can see that I set a 35.4 in the previous lap, and I'm nearly 4 tenths up on it at this point. Coming now to the long right-hander turns 11, going into turns 12, 13. Flat through the first 2, hard down third gear, trail it through, trying to hit the apex there at turn number 13. We come down now, turn 14, out the other side, and into this final sector. Turn 15, you can go full throttle here, third gear. I managed to do it that time. I don't always quite get to that level every stage, and I missed the apex here at the last turn. There's a car parked on the outside apex there, which was a bit off-putting, and I lose about 1.5 tenths through that last turn. Puts us at a 35 flat and P7 for that session. Straight into the race start now, green lights and we're away. We are now on the inside coming into turn 1, and we're going to go side by side through here, which was what I was expecting to do through this sequence of corners. I've got a Lamborghini on my outside. He goes quite slow through turn 2 there, so I come out the other side with no one beside me, a little gap in front, a little gap behind, and it's a pretty clean way to start this race. Coming down now into turns 4, 5 and 6 for the first time. And there's basically a battle of cars in front and a battle of cars behind me at this stage, and I'm quite content to sit here and not be too worried about what those guys are doing. And as we make our way to the end of lap number 2 now, you can see that that situation hasn't changed. A really tidy way to start this race, still sitting there P7. I've got a BMW that's starting to close in behind me, but I've still got that group of cars right there in front of me, and we come through now sitting there a 35.9, which is just a nice way to settle into this race. Things start to spice up in front of me here. Got the BMW and the Mercedes. He's managed to turn the Mercedes around, that BMW in front of me, so we pick up one position there, and that brings the cars behind me into my little battle here as well. Now on lap number 5, we've got the BMW. He's trying to make a move down the inside of the McLaren, but completely misses the apex and cleans them both out on the outside of the circuit there. I managed to sneak by, getting myself up to position number 4, with quite a little train of cars now behind me as well. So this race is going to now settle down into me trying to defend this position and hopefully hold on to a really good spot here. I was really focusing on my corner exits, particularly down the long straightaways here, and that allowed cars to close up mid-corner, but I was always able to pull a tiny gap away and stop any kind of dive bombs or anything coming down the inside. But the cars behind me were certainly a little bit faster than me, so I was just trying to hold my position here and make no mistakes. However, as we come out of turn number 14, this gold Lamborghini comes out of absolutely nowhere across the infield. He collects my right hand side and puts me into a spin.
He's not waiting around either, which I found a little bit disappointing. And you can see he just literally appears out of nowhere in the replay here. And I had nowhere to go. From his point, he's just lost it coming through turns 12, 13. On the grass, no brakes, finds himself in the middle of the track, and I am the victim in all of that. Real shame for my race. We fall down to P10, which now is going to turn into P11 as this Porsche comes with speed here into the last corner. And the green Lamborghini now, he's trying to look up the inside too, so I'm immediately trying to defend a position here. I know I've been faster than these guys, but I really need to get back into my groove and hopefully hold on to this spot. Comes up the inside here in turn 2. I hold around the outside. I have the inside now for turn 3. Get through here nicely, and we pull away, and we manage to hold on to that position. However, he's still right there, and he's got that incentive now to pull a maneuver on me. And these are the really tricky parts of these rookie races. Ideally, I would be quicker in fresh air, and obviously I was a long way up the road before the crash, but because he's right there, he's sniffing an opportunity, and it's really hard to stop someone when they're feeling that aggressive behind you. So as we make our way now down to turns 9 and 10, he's right behind me, he's going to have a look, so I move over, I'm going to let him have this one, try and let him take this pass nice and clean, and hopefully he's now on the move forward and we can see where he goes. And he does in fact do that. He gets around the Porsche in front of me. I'm still being nice and cautious behind. So on P12, I'm looking at the back of P11. We've got 7 minutes left of this race to go. And I'm hoping that the Porsche makes maybe a bit of a mistake or I get a good run out of one of the turns, particularly down into turn 8, which is a really good passing opportunity. But we'll see if we get an opportunity to do that here. However, start of lap number 12, coming through a little bit slower through turns 1, preparing for turn 2, and the green Aston Martin behind, he really misjudges in the braking zone he's looking for there, and I get collected from behind. Now, you'll see in the replay here that I think there's a little bit of game lag in this particular session. You can sort of see the way that Aston Martin is moving around the track. So potentially it's a bit of game lag rather than a misjudgment, but it was a pretty severe hit. It certainly sent me into the gravel trap with a fair bit of speed. So again, the second time this race I've been taken out, and you can see now this McLaren, he's all over the circuit. It's definitely some game lag going on here. This particular moment, I've got a good run here, but because of the lag, I was a little bit nervous. I'm trying to give him heaps of space. The last thing I want to do is be involved in another incident in this particular race. But we get down the inside into turn number 8, power out the other side, and I got lots of speed on him, so I managed to pull away. There's a squabble in the last set of corners between these two cars. This Ferrari, I think, was trying to wait, then realized other cars were coming up behind, and somehow I kind of went from P20 and made it my way up to P15 in those last few laps without really making any real moves of my own. So it was fortunate that I sort of managed to get back to that position, not lose too much elo in the process. So across the line, a disappointing race for us, absolutely. The two incidents that were completely not my fault. Quite frustrating, but that is sometimes how rookie class goes.
So a truly frustrating first race for me at Misano, and I just held on to any kind of safety rating, more or less gaining none in that first race, but thankfully not losing any either. Now, I truly believe that the game lag was the contributing factor in the second accident I had with that Aston Martin, and to be honest, I have no idea if it was from my end or the ACC side of things. But noticing that this ping was high on pretty much all of the servers inside ACC afterwards, I decided that I would kill off any more racing that night and pick it up again the next day. If any of you out there have any idea on how I can work out if it was from my side or the ACC side, I would truly appreciate it. This is not an area that I am of any knowledge in at all, and if there is something I can do, I would certainly want to be trying to sort that for the future. But with another day's racing ready to go, we will dive now into my second race at Misano.
Into qualifying now, and this was in fact quite a frustrating session for me. I really struggled to find the space on the track to set a quick lap time. I've backed it out coming into this lap, but as you see, this Porsche comes out and he's not getting out of the way on his warm-up lap, and that immediately interferes with my quick lap, so I have to back it out and hopefully try and find some space. I've let this Ferrari through as well because he was on a quick lap, so I start this one, I'm a second and a half away, but I'm certainly misjudging the speed difference of this particular split because we are racing in the middle of the day and there is a much larger split across the field in terms of overall pace for this particular race. So we're going to come down now, turns number 4, 5 and 6. This was the big work on area for me from yesterday's race, trying to get through this nice and fast, particularly turn number 6 here going along the back straight, almost full throttle on that, and is certainly getting a little bit better at it. There's a lot of time to be gained by getting those exits really well. Coming down to turn number 8, hard on the brakes, we're still using first gear, punch it out the other side, and up until this point of the previous lap, I had been going pretty good, so to be 6/10 up was certainly showing some additional speed. Now getting out of turn 10 onto the back straight, and that Porsche that was in front of me and interfered with my last lap, he's only a couple of seconds up the road, so I really am hoping that he's not going to be in the way. With a couple of seconds, I should be okay. Coming through turns 12 and 13, much deeper into 13 here, and as we come down to turn 14, again much steeper. I was certainly finding a lot more time in this part of the track as well and getting quite comfortable with it. Coming through the last set of corners, I have to have a little lift here to not run track limits, and we get through the last corner here pretty decently, third gear, and we get right to the back of the Porsche, so I'm glad I wasn't any closer to him through that lap. And I set a 1 minute 34.377, which was good enough for P3 at the start of this race. Now the start of this race was going to be very crucial for me because with the spread across the field, there were certainly some cars around me with a similar pace, but it was going to spread out and I really wanted to maintain my place on the track so I can more or less have my own race on this one. We get a green light, we're down into turn 1, and we're going to go side by side with the Porsche on my outside there. He's going to have the inside for turn 2. We keep going side by side here, and I get through turn 3 pretty well, and I just managed to get in front here, pull out a nice little gap. He has a half think about an inside move, but I get nice and deep in the braking area. And just really holding on here. I am expecting these front 2 cars to skip away. Their qualifying times were quite a bit better than mine, so I was really looking already at the car behind and trying to maintain this third position through the first part of this lap. I come down into turn number 8, you can see he's right on my tail there. Ferrari definitely struggles on cold tyres, and so I'm sort of quite vulnerable in the first couple of laps. But we managed to hold on, and as you can see, we're coming through to complete lap number 4, and those cars in front have started to skip away, and the Porsche behind me, he's back there about 1.3 seconds behind. And this is definitely the nice part of this race because I found some clear track and I maintained that position through the first lap. Now just starting to get into a groove, and although this can be boring racing, it was certainly nice for me to just have a clean race, particularly after the issues of the race prior. And as I said, this is the race that gets me out of rookie class. So why not go out with a good result, hopefully, if we can hold on to the rest of this race. Coming out of turn 8, this is in fact halfway now through what is the quickest lap that I set here at Misano and the quickest lap of this race. Coming down into turn number 10, first gear, I actually missed the apex of that corner, so there's even more time to be found in this lap. Onto the back straight now. You can see my previous best lap was that 1 minute 34.4 in the top corner, so I'm hoping to go a bit quicker there. I'm getting a lot more comfortable now into turn 13 here and down into turn 14, so it was really nailing out the set of corners. Coming through the last turns now, third gear, we keep it flat for this particular lap, playing with the outside track limits there. Again, not quite as good through the last corner, losing a little bit of time there. and it falls away, but we get a 1 minute 34.1 second lap, which is a pretty good result for me, only doing a few races at Misano and a few practices, so really starting to find a groove here. And it's been the nice part about these LFM weeks is you get to really focus on a track for a few days, and then I'm starting to look forward to coming back to it in a later week for sure. But as we come down to turn 6, the McLaren who's sitting P2, he has an own mistake and he gives us his P2 position. With 16 minutes left to go, our race has just gotten a little bit sweeter. See there behind, he dropped quite a bit of time. So we're now wondering if he'll actually have the time left in the race to come back to us. As you can see, the P1 position car is nearly 6 seconds up the road in just 10 minutes of racing. So those two cars were definitely much quicker than us. And it'll be interesting to see if he can come back to us throughout this race. 9 minutes to go, however, it's still just the Porsche behind, and in fact that McLaren is over 7 seconds behind the Porsche. So it's really looking like it's a race between me and the Porsche for this P2, and with the 1.8 second gap, I'm really just focusing on not making any mistakes. With 5 minutes to go, you can see that gap now, it's going to increase to nearly 3 seconds, and this is the largest gap that I have on the Porsche at any time in this race. Now the lap times have been relatively consistent, setting a bunch of low to mid 134s and the odd one a little bit higher, if not creeping into the 35-second bracket, but the inconsistency that I've been having has been matched by the Porsche as well. So for most part the gap has just been slowly increasing through the race, and we're going to go now into the final lap of this race and what will be my hopefully final race lap inside LFM Rookie Series. Now I know that's a pretty bold claim to make because safety rating can be a very up and down thing for a lot of players in LFM, and there is all chance that my safety rating goes down again and we end up back in rookies. However, in the first 20 races I've more or less been able to increase my safety rating in every single race. In fact, there's only been 3 races where I have lost safety rating, and at a total, it's only been 0.14 that I've lost over the entire time in LFM so far. And I've been spending a lot of time very specifically trying to learn how safety rating works and getting the most out of these races in terms of safety rating each time. And in a way, I feel I've been pretty successful at it. I'll certainly want to share some of those thoughts in a future video, but these 2 races themselves have been a really good example of how rookie races can go, where even though I had 2 really bad accidents in the prior race, I managed to race clean enough to not lose ELO, and then you come away with a really good result like this, and the safety rating on this one ends up being 0.38 with only 3 incident points picked up in what is more or less a perfectly clean race for me. So we're going to come into the final set of corners here, and what will be hopefully that last rookie race. We throw into the last corner. I actually have a big oversteer moment I have to catch. I almost throw it away at the last, but we come through taking a P2 position, a bunch of safety rating, a bunch of ELO, and a nice way to exit Rookie Series.
So there we have it, 2 very interesting races which really summarize my experience inside Rookie Series so far in 2024. From a race where you struggle to hang on to any safety rating at all to a perfectly clean race where you pick up a stack of it, it certainly has been a journey to this point. But obviously it doesn't end here. Safety rating is a very tricky thing, and I could easily lose it to fall back into rookies. So my approach will not change. Still have a lot of safety rating left to gain, but it will be interesting to see how it plays out now that I'll be ranked against other drivers with similar ELO to me in my next few races. And as always, I would love to know your comments on my driving performance. Let me know down below, and subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you're new around here. Really keen to see you in the next videos. I hope you're getting lots of cool racing in yourself, but race hard, stay positive, and we'll see you all in that next video really soon. Cheers.